Welcome to O Talkin' with Dave. Put your hands together for the pastor of positivity whose glass is always at least half full. Here's Dave.
Hey, what's going on? I hope you're doing well. I am top shelf and ready to go. But I've been getting a lot of questions because I've talked a lot about gratitude lately. Be grateful. Think about what you got, not what you want. That'll make you a calmer, more appreciative person. Well, people are hitting me up pretty heavy. But Dave, things are so bad. There's a lot to worry about. And you know how that gets me. So I decided to, instead of thinking about your to-do list, let's make a get to-do list. What's your to-do list today? Well, I don't know. My get to-do list is pretty long. So it's all about changing our mindset, changing the lens that we're looking through. And so let's talk a little bit about that. And then I'm just going to give you a ton of examples. And I may pause every now and then when I hear your eyes rolling. And I get it, especially if you're not in the frame of mind. So let's talk about getting in the right mindset before I jump into those. So part of it is basically what I said. Instead of what I have to do, what have I got to do today? Think about, what do I get to do? Instead of I have to work out, hey, I get to work out. I get to do that. And you start thinking about, okay, what's that going to lead to? I'm going to feel better. I want to be healthier. Oh, but I'm going to be so sore. Come on, work with me here. And so change that language. We're going to talk a lot about that. Then you've got to connect to the bigger picture, the bigger purpose. Go to the why. Why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Instead of dreading going to work. Oh, it kills me when people ruin a Sunday thinking about, I got to go to work tomorrow. Well, you also get to earn a living and support your family, get better at your skills, feel better about yourself. That provides a ton of stuff. Yeah, maybe you got to get up and go to work. No, you get to get up and go to work. So the gratitude of that moment is so important. Just one thing to be thankful for in each task. All right, now let's get crazy. So you're doing laundry. I do laundry. Do I look like I do laundry? I do. I do dishes. I've started doing more of that because it's I want to help out. Plus, I get to do it. I think, all right, look how many clothes I've got. Wow. I remember there was a time when I had 2 or 3 undershirts that I wore under my dress clothes, and I had to do laundry because I didn't have enough for the whole week. I remember having to do laundry just to have enough towels because we didn't have. Boom! The other day I was doing laundry, and I like to do the towels because they're easy. They're easy to wash, and I can fold those things so fast. But I thought about, look at this pile of towels. We had my kids, both kids and both of their significant others were here this week. And man, you think about it, 6 showers a day. Hopefully it was 6 showers a day. I don't know. A couple of them might have got a little ripe after 2 days. But anyway, boom, we had like 12 towels. And so, yeah, we had to do laundry. But man, I remember a time in a family of 5 growing up, we might have had 5 towels. Total. So I get to do those. And look at all of this. And going to work helped me pay for it. You get my drift here? And also think about shifting it from it's an obligation to an opportunity. It's a privilege, not a burden. Cooking dinner. Sometimes I don't want to cook. Sometimes I'd rather just go out to eat. Getting to go out to eat, well, you got to go to work to do that. You got to get in the car and get traffic. Other things to be grateful for, but I get to do it. I get to choose what we eat. I get to see the look on their face when it's something that they like. That's a privilege. not a burden. No, there's always times we don't want to do this. That's when you have to turn it from an obligation into an opportunity. And then you got to turn it into a positive habit. Make it enjoyable. I mean, you're doing something. One thing that we do, goodness, music is always being played. You know, as I'm driving, I've learned to enjoy driving. But it's to go to Southern California. Excuse me, it's 4 to 6 hours depending on how fast I drive in traffic. But I put their old podcast on, or I listen to music, or a lot of times I will think, okay, I'll get to this point and then I'll get me something to eat, or I'll get to this point, and you turn it into something positive about it. You know, I am probably more able to do that than some, but that's the way we were when we were kids. A task that's not something enjoyable, well, there's got to be a reward. All right. Well, sometimes the task can be the reward. I mean, moving furniture. I used to move furniture a lot because we couldn't afford a lot. So when you move your furniture around, it's like you got a whole new room. Oh, look at this. Rearranging something. Yeah, if you have to do that, if you had to help a friend move furniture, that's a task. If it's yours, at least you got furniture. Maybe it's a little cozier. Maybe it's a new take on it. Now, my parents used to move the furniture after I went out, and I would come back in the dark trying to sneak around, and you crack your toe, and they got a lot of pleasure out of that. But it's just changing the way you look at things. Instead of have to, I get to. Instead, and understand the bigger purpose. What's the reward at the end? And it's having gratitude in the moment. Instead of an obligation, it's an opportunity. And then turn something about these tasks into a positive habit. And we'll work on it. Now, I got a bunch of stuff here that I've thought about, and it's you're going to roll your eyes. There's something as simple as taking out the trash. Now, my wife takes out the trash a lot. I don't know how a family of two creates as much trash as we have, and we have two cans right there in the kitchen. I don't know how we go through so much. I remember that was one of my chores growing up. And then I would go to some of my relatives in Kentucky, and they didn't have trash collection. They had once every period of time, they had to load it in the truck and take it to the dump. Now, some of you may still do that now. My daughter, before they started having trash collection outside of Nashville, they were in a rural community. They had to do that. Now, they dreaded that. Taking the trash outside to the garbage cans and taking the garbage cans to the road once a week, that is a luxury compared to having to take your stuff to the dump or some other inconvenient way. So you look at that. I don't have to take the trash out. I get to just put it in that can right there. We talked about laundry earlier, the clothes that we have and the washing the clothes and that hits me, whether you're folding them, the ironing them. I learned in college to iron a shirt. I put that crease in that. I love to put I probably spent more on starch in my life than most men my age, but I love that. And that was actually fun. Get that. I hated wearing the shirt when I was in college. But putting that crease in there, and a couple of people noticed that. I remember when I was in a job, I always heard, dress like the position you want to be in. Well, people that I was around in my position, they were wearing polo shirts. Well, they're comfortable, yeah. Well, but to step up, they were wearing, the button-down dress shirt. I put my ironing skills to work, and it was noticed. I dressed the part. So I don't have to iron. I get to iron. Washing dishes. One thing that we did, we started a policy here, my wife and I. And this sounds so simple. It's so simple. And most of you have probably been doing this for years. But if the sink got full of dishes, then, it was such a chore. such a chore because you had to dig out from under all of that. Now, hey, you rinse it as soon as you eat and put it in the dishwasher. You keep the sink clean. And then once, at the end of the day, boom, just push it the next morning. You got clean dishes. Now that sounds simple. The getting to do is, hey, I get to load it as I go so that I don't have to address that mound of dishes. I hated that. Growing up, my sisters, it was, this is going to sound sexist, but it wasn't me, it was my parents. Me and Dad did all the work outside, but my sisters, they were in charge of the dishes. And it always bothered me that my mom, after we had a big meal and we had maybe had family or friends over or whatever, they had to get those dishes done. My sister Debbie would wash, and my sister Denise would dry and put them away. He didn't let them rinse, put them away. And if they weren't around, my mom did it. But it bothered me when we couldn't enjoy some time because it's just something in their path. They had to get the dishes done. Once that's done, we can sit down and relax. So thinking about all of that, I've got a dishwasher. We don't accumulate a great amount of dishes. So now just the simple task, I get to do that rather than having to spend way too much time later on doing the dishes as I knew growing up. Now, unloading the dishwasher, that's annoying. However, I've got a dishwasher. Come on, Dave. It's hard to complain about that. The refrigerator, our refrigerator, we will buy things. We did it just this weekend. I did it this morning. Our kids will come into town and we'll ask them what they want to eat or drink or whatever. And so whatever they say, we still, when we're in the grocery store, we'll pick stuff we think they like. Oh, they'll like this. They never eat it. I have 6 jars of pickles, 3 from the last time that they didn't eat, and then 3 for this time. Didn't even open them. The seal's not even broke on them. And so cleaning some of that stuff out. And when you do, my wife had 2-gallon jugs of water for when she takes the dogs to the dog park. Well, that's too heavy. So she started taking the individual bottles of water. Well, I noticed today, those gallon jugs full of water were still in there. Look at all the space that's taken up. So cleaning out the refrigerator, the reward is, look at this. Look how nice that looks. Look at all the space we've got. Okay, now I'm nitpicking here. The reason I'm doing that is our get-to-do list is so long, if we think about it that way. And then we're more grateful. And the more often we're grateful, the easier it is. And we start to notice things. It's the purple car. One thing when we moved to California, I was never a furniture duster. And it was absolutely an obsession with my mom and kind of with my wife, honestly. Well, we lived in California. The doors were always open. We lived close to the beach and there was constantly a breeze. We had dogs. We still have dogs, but it's a constant accumulation. She could dust and 10 minutes later, I just dusted. Look at that. Look, and it drive her crazy. And she says, I'm constantly having to dust. Okay, well, first of all, let's calm down. I don't think anybody died of dust. However, look, what are you dusting? You're dusting a furniture. You're dusting a piano. You're dusting stuff that we have, possessions. Okay, let's not get too grateful. Everybody has possessions. The reason you're dusting so much, you live half a mile from the beach and you have a constant breeze. That constant breeze keeps away all the flies, all the mosquitoes, all the bugs that we had flying around where we grew up. So would you rather have all of that stuff or dust a little bit? Okay, dust a lot. You need to control your dust problems. However, see what I mean? Because of this, we get to do that. Now you got other stuff. I mean, I could go rogue on you here and just say, hey, cleaning the bathroom, cleaning the toilet. Everybody gets to do that, right? Okay, you rather have outdoor plumbing? I know, that's a stretch. It's a bit of a stretch. You can complain about that if you want, especially if you have a husband or teenage boy. It is horrible. One thing, it's rough. This is a rough one. How about, have you ever gone to bed and all of a sudden your wife or somebody says, "Oh, I forgot to put the sheets on." And you're tired, man. You just want to go to bed. And putting a fitted sheet on a king-size bed, that's a two-person job. They can do it very quickly. But, man, I just want to lay down. Why have I got to put the sheets on? And the pillowcases? Are you kidding me? You know where I'm going with that. Hey, be glad you have those clean sheets because you did laundry. And we don't fold sheets. They come right out of the dryer and right on the bed usually. However, it's an inconvenience, right? Well, I think having clean sheets on the bed is worth it. Then I think of just tasks around the house. I talked about cooking dinner. You got food. I mean, having to do that. I remember my mom could make a meal of leftovers taste like a gourmet meal. Our biggest problem, and here's how spoiled we are, is we're so picky. And we're not good with leftovers. I mean, how many to-go boxes have we left on the table at the restaurant? And then how many times, speaking of cleaning out fridges, did we open that? What is this? It's something from a meal that we could have eaten. We could have saved money. We could have done all this stuff. So cooking, you get to cook dinner. You get to cook dinner. One thing that is annoying at times is grocery shopping. I got to go to the grocery store. I got to go to the grocery store. It's some people hate it. All right, let's think about this. Other than it costs money, okay, you got to have food, right? So we have to go to this place and get this list of things that we need or want. No, we get to go there. At least we've got a place. Now, oh my goodness, my daughter, she gets all her stuff delivered. She didn't even have to go to the grocery store. Oh, but I got to go click and do all. There's going to be something. And then, the what do we cook? A lot of time we'll go out to eat. We'll have food, but we'll go out to eat because I just want to cook this, or I can't decide what I want, or, And then we get to the restaurant, we do the same thing. I had this last time, or, we go to the same places until we're sick of it, and then we find a new place. We're trying to break that habit. But it's still, what did I get here last time? Or blah, blah, blah. Our choices and our to-do lists are ridiculous. We're getting to do all that. I mean, now I'll blow some stuff up in a microwave. I will. And my wife will complain, and rightly so. I turn the microwave into a lab experiment. And I understand her complaining about that. However, you mean you'd rather take an hour to cook that rather than do it in 5 minutes? I know I could put a paper towel over the top or whatever. The microwave is one of the most convenient inventions. And look how impatient we are. I mean, I'll stand by the microwave tapping my foot and looking at what is taking so long? We get to use the microwave. Then you got things, I don't do this as much. I've actually, if you saw my coffee routine in the morning, but people complaining about making coffee, the Keurigs, it's instant. We're used to that. But to make coffee, it takes about 5 minutes. Now I do like if I've got time on the weekends, especially, I'll grind it because I've talked about my coffee problem. I can't get it strong enough, and I just love it. So it's not a chore to me. But what I don't like, get this. So I grind it, and maybe I need to get a better grinder or a different quality bean. The thing I don't like about it, and it bothers me, I have to, there's a bit of a moisture when you do that, and you have to actually dig the grounds out to get it all in there. That annoys me. I have to do that, right? No, I get to do that. You know why? Because it's going to taste so good, and I can drink it in 5 minutes. This is how ridiculous we get with the things we have to do instead of the things we get to do. Some of the little annoying things like, You know, I used to have a bad habit until I started having to pay some of the bills that it caused. But just scraping the plate and the rinsing it a little bit before you put it in the dishwasher. Oh my goodness. I've ruined half a dozen dishwashers in my life. I don't anymore. You know, I get to scrape that out because I don't want to pay that bill. Plus, it gets it cleaner. You don't have to recycle and do a lot of stuff. But let's think about it. We had a meal. We ate something. Be grateful for that. We get to scrape the leftovers out. You know, and just it's just throwing out expired food that drives people crazy. If you knew how much food we threw out. And I know there's hungry people and wherever. I heard that growing up. They use that to tell me to clean my plate. Oh, there's starving kids in Africa or whatever. We throw away so much. I did it in a podcast about waste, that 40% of the food we buy, we don't eat. 40%. It's a luxury to throw food away. That's a different message than I intended, but we actually get to do that. The pickles I threw away this morning, I got to do that. I don't have to eat pickles to survive. And then I think of some of the smaller things. You know, I can't remember if it was once a month. I think it was once a month. Me and Dad, I was a little boy, we'd go get a haircut. And I hated getting haircuts. So we had to go. And it was usually, we'd go on Saturday mornings because I had to get a haircut and look good on Sunday morning for church. But Dad would work all week. Well, this is part of his day off. And we would go to Bob and Bill's Barbershop, Sheffield, Alabama. And I don't know, maybe this initiated my waiting problem, how I hate to wait. But we would go in there, and there might be, here's 2 chairs. There might be 2 full chairs and 4 men waiting. Well, we had to get a haircut. And there may be more or less. But it was just all men. And it was, they would try to do things. He'd buy me a Coke or, they'd read the newspaper. I don't want to read a newspaper. And they would talk about stuff I didn't care anything about. And they were talking. They didn't even have a TV in this one. And so getting a haircut annoyed the crap out of me. Plus I had the bowl haircut until I was, in high school. So I sure didn't want Mom or Dad to cut it. Oh, they butchered me. It was bad. And I wasn't that vain. I didn't really care that big a deal. But going to the barbershop, it was an ordeal. I hated it. And then we did it when cartoons were on. It's horrible. Well, we think about it as it goes on. You have to get an appointment. You get an appointment to get a haircut. And so expensive and all that. That was a luxury too, to be able to do that, to style. Yeah, I know. You look at my hair now, give me a break. Now, I get on the app. I can book it. I can be there in a few minutes. And if I can wait here. It's 2 miles away. But if the wait's more than 10, 15 minutes, I'm like, I'm at home. I can be watching TV and it will alert me when to go get a haircut. I'll walk in. The other day I went, and this lady, she's so sweet. Anyway, she cuts my hair. It's a number 2 all over, by the way. Look at that. I'm probably due a haircut. I'm getting grown up. Anyway, it takes, I don't know, 2 minutes, 5 minutes at the most. Well, she said, you want to get your eyebrows trimmed? I went, well, do they need it? She said, yeah. Okay, go ahead, Or, she's doing, I noticed she's trimming the hair out of my ears and out of my nose and just dabbling. I said, look, I know you're finished and you're just trying to give me my money's worth. And she said, yeah, I'm just piddling now. I said, go ahead. Let me get out of here. It's non-invasive, but I still complain about it. Compare that to when I was a kid. If I had to go wait for an hour to get a haircut, I wouldn't get a haircut. I would do it myself. I'd give me a Flowbee and just, Lord knows what I would look like. But yet, I complain about it. So I don't have to get a haircut. I get to get a haircut now. Now it's almost getting a haircut on the way to do something else. So I get to do that. I get up every day and I don't like to shave every day, but I do. And on the weekends, a lot of times I don't. Some of these things, the running water. We've got it so good. The chore of shaving and showering, we got hot water. I remember a time, my goodness, we grew up in a family of 5, mom and dad, my 2 sisters and me, 1 bathroom. We were there when my sisters were teenagers. Man, it is a luck of the draw to get hot water when you're taking a shower. And then you start shaving. Well, I mean, that's more hot water usage. And thank goodness they were gone shortly after I started shaving. But that's now to shave and shower with hot water and not have to use the perfumey soap that the sisters used. It was one kind of soap. We didn't have soap for guys, soap for girls. No such thing as shower gel. Are you kidding me? But get to do that instead of have to do that. And now our big deal is phone chargers. I leave them everywhere, and so sometimes all over the country, how do I leave phone chargers everywhere? It's such a routine, but something will get me out of my routine. I'll be on the way out and someone will call, or something will get me out of my routine. Leave the phone charger, or the one for the car, whatever. When having to take turns with a phone charger is a problem, you need to get that off your to-do list. It's a get to-do list. At least I've got a phone. I've got something to charge. I've got electricity here. I got 2 bars. Okay, you charge yours first. Is that such a big deal? And then, I know a lot of people, me included, I guess, I get all these ads about skin care. Take care of your skin. I know they're selling stuff. Well, it's not only skin care. You got to have biodegradable. No animals can be killed, and certain oils, and it's got to be sustainable. The fact that we're talking about that, I mean, at least we're talking about hygiene. You give me a bar of soap and some warm water, I'm okay. I'm realizing it's not that way for everybody, but I'm grateful for both. You take either one of those away, I don't remember a time when I didn't. I remember when I was younger, but in my adult life, I've had those basic things, and having to use them, I get to use them. Yeah. Now I don't like doctor visits. We know that. That's well documented. However, I've got a friend who just had a scare, and then he started taking better care of himself. And it's rough that that's what you have to do. And he was talking about his, a diet that his doctor has put him on. And he has to eat that, and he can't eat this, and he can't eat that. And, when I lose weight, which I've lost probably a ton in my lifetime, I gain it back, but that's okay. He was focusing on, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. I knew I was going to record this today. It was actually this morning. And I said, well, Dave, what do you get to eat? Oh, blah, 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 blah. But you're alive, and that's going to help you live longer. So, and you like those, don't you? He said, yeah, but you know how I love dessert. You know how I love, yeah. But you get to eat this, and you look at what you get to eat. And that's huge in dieting. Or any health regimen. It's what you get to do. What is this going to give you? And looking at it that way. I know on a bad day it's tough, but we need to get in this mentality. You get to trim your fingernails. You get to brush your teeth. You get to pick out your clothes. And if you don't have, the clothes you want, well, you do things that makes you able to get those, so you get to wear them. Does anybody get up in the morning and think, oh, I can't wait to take vitamins, or I can't wait to do some sort of, nutritional health care thing? I guess some of you weirdos do. No, but what's that going to lead to? What's that going to lead to? You're going to get to do that. I know a lot of older people that they have to take a handful of medicine. I have to take these pills. My dad's one of them. I have to. Well, no. You get to do that so that you don't have other problems. And when we can get into this gratitude mentality of an opportunity rather than an obligation. It's fantastic. And so, but going even further, let's go to work. Let's talk about some of the more modern stuff. Emails. Oh, those people that I talked to a guy the other day, he had and you may have more, 300 unread emails in his inbox. I didn't sleep well that night just thinking about that. Come on. Come up with something. Come up with, I talk about it on time management, arranging that to where it's not there. I think I'm probably like my wife is with dusting about my emails. I can't, I may put them in a different box so I don't have to look at them, but I don't have that many in my inbox. So learning to deal with it, deleting old emails, keeping, I talk about keeping a place organized or whatever, and I know you're judging me about my surroundings here, but that's okay. Emails are the same way. Just do it. Just get on it, but you get to do it. What if it was letters? What if it was files, paper? You would literally have your room full of filing cabinets. Instead, you get to manage your emails. Phone apps. Some people are absolutely overwhelmed by the different apps that are available and all of that. Well, the reason you have those apps is because you have a smartphone. People catching up, I see them. Oh, my goodness. I guarantee if you measured the average American right thumb or dominant hand thumb, it's the most muscular part of the body because we're all, we get to do that. It's not an obligation. It's not a chore. It's probably a mental problem now, but you get to do that. It's in the palm of your hand. The capabilities of this phone, it would take a room full of equipment not too long ago. The biggest problem I have is keeping up with my Wi-Fi password or my password for all my different things. And, just the same thing. I talked about email, but, I got an external hard drive. It's a 2 terabyte, I think. And terabyte, my goodness. Terabyte sounds like some sort of prehistoric creature. Because I got to my point to where, I've got so much data. I was running out of data on a laptop and a hard drive. And something I need an external hard drive. And it's okay, I got to move I got to move all these files over. And I didn't do it for a while. It did it for me if I just go ahead and do it. And so that's part of it. Sometimes when we have to do something, we'll procrastinate. Whereas if we get to do it, okay, well, let me look at this. I can just mark all and drag and drop and go away and come back in 30 minutes and it's done. Well, I get to do that. Oh, that's great. And look at all this free space. Yeah, paying bills. No, I'm not saying paying bills is a joy. Having the money to pay your bills is good. But, I remember the time. But, I hear some of these young folks, I got to pay my bills. They're all online now. That person has them online. I do auto pay on most of mine, so I don't even have to click. Excuse me, I'm sorry about my voice. I've been talking a lot. The auto pay is a great function. So when I have to pay one, it's like, that's right. I got to boom, click, put the date in, blah, 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 click. I had to do that. Not too long ago, guys, we were writing checks and putting in an envelope, addressing the envelope, putting a stamp, and going to the mailbox to pay a bill. Now we get to pay our bills online. One of the things my wife is we haven't done it, and we need to. And the Legacy Box is not a sponsor, although they could be. We've got cases and cases of old VHS tapes and pictures and all that stuff. We should get that digitized. There is the technology. We could do that. It's seen as a have to do it, and that's the only reason we haven't done it yet. Imagine. I've got this little picture frame I got her for Christmas that rotate, and we keep current pictures on it, so it's always slideshow. It's wonderful. What if we had that for all of that stuff that we've got there. That would be so great. So we get to do that. But we haven't because we say, I have to do that someday. Then you got some other things. I made a list. I'll look at my list. Software updates. Oh, I gotta just thankfully most of them are automatic now, but it used to be to the point to where you had to, if something's not working, you had to find an update, whether it's software on your computer or on your phone or whatever it is. Now it's just an automatic update. It happens at night while you're asleep. Other things you can set up, anything you can set up to do automatically that doesn't drive you crazy, and I've talked about that. That is, you get to do that. That's not a have to. That is not a have to. So let's talk about some things I may struggle with. I struggle with a lot of these. And that's why when I do these, I'm talking to myself. Getting gas. So when I talked about have a reward in there or make a positive thing about it. So I travel a lot. So, okay, I should get gas on the way home because I've got to go first thing in the morning. I won't want to get gas. Okay, well, I don't get gas. Oh, okay, now I got to get it in the morning. So I think, well, I got to make coffee. Well, now I don't have to make coffee because I'll just go inside and get coffee while the gas is pumping. So little things like that. And I get to do that. And then halfway somewhere, I know there's a great spot where I know I'm going to have to use the bathroom, so I can top the tank off, use the bathroom, maybe get some more coffee or a Diet Mountain Dew or a snack or whatever. And I get to do that. So that way you're not playing tricks on your mind. You know yourself, and that becomes part of it. The part that gets me is waiting in traffic. Waiting in any line, waiting at the barber shop, like I said earlier. This one's a tough one for me because the average American driver is horrible. The passing lanes, oh, come on. And so I have to dig deep on these. And there's some of these you're going to have to dig deep on. It's where am I going? Okay. When I get there, it could be for work. It may be a task I don't really want to do, but that I get to do. It's for work. I'll earn a living. That's how I can have the things that I have. That's how I can build a list of things I get to do. So I try, when I'm not at my worst, not at my best either, I try to think through that and think through traffic. I mean, I'll have a podcast on, or I'll be talking to somebody. 10 and 2. I know this is in the way. 10 and 2. That's how I have to deal with that. Otherwise, there could be a situation, but I actually get to get stuck in traffic. I'm going tomorrow. I have to drive through L.A. I get to drive through L.A. tomorrow. Dropping stuff off. Just dropping packages off. Going to the post office. Have you been to a post office lately? I haven't because I won't go because the last time was so bad. But now you can do, whether it's a UPS store or FedEx or wherever, you can get your stuff online. You can actually have that stuff picked up. But a lot of times we have to drop packages off somewhere. My wife has to drop off dry cleaning. Oh, okay. Well, dropping off is not as bad, but got to pick it up. I'm pretty sure I have dry cleaning at dry cleaners in 8 different cities where we've lived over the last 30 years. But that stuff, it's annoying. Well, what are you sending? Is it a gift for somebody? Think about that. You get to do that. You get to pick your your clothes. They're all fresh and clean. Think of it that way. I do so much shopping online, too much. Too much. I could probably move the camera around and show you some instances of when, come on, Dave. That's a luxury. And I don't return stuff. I'll give it away, or if it's the wrong size, hey, somebody's this size, that type of thing, because that is a have to for me. I get to give it to somebody. I get to, it's the same thing. I ordered, recently, a hose. We had a hose go bad. That's how much we water here. Don't tell the Nevada Water Authority. They'll come arrest me. So I had to get a new hose. Well, apparently I didn't pay attention and I ordered two. All right. Am I going to return that hose? No. Well, my daughter and Cece were here this weekend, and y'all don't need a hose, do you? Oh, we do. We're fixing up our back area, and I don't have a hose. Bingo. I get to give them that hose instead of it laying around here. That's a good thing. I have got getting the car serviced, oil changes, stuff like that. Oh, it's just annoying. It's annoying. Changing the oil, getting in line to get the oil changed. Let's go back. I remember when getting the oil changed was a luxury, something you get to do rather than go getting your hair cut with Dad. Oh my goodness. You get the pan, you put it under the car, you drain the oil. You wait for it to drain. You take the oil filter out. You wait for that to drain. You put the oil filter back in and the plug back in. Then you pour the oil in. 6, 8 quarts, whatever. We had big cars. Oh, and it ended up didn't save you any money. Now, I go, pull up. 10 minutes later, they're waving at me as I leave. I get to do that. And I can listen to the radio. I can sit in there and scroll, catch up on my correspondence, all this stuff. Yet we're so spoiled. We have to do that. So some people, they don't do it because they have to. And then later, they have engine problems or they have car problems or it ends up being so much more expensive. And then they get to buy a new transmission. We get to get our oil changed. So a lot of things like this. I don't go to Starbucks too much. We went to a new coffee place close by the other day, and it was this little spot, and it looks like you pull up here to one side, place your order, then drive around and pick it up on the other side, like a normal place. So we're sitting there forever. I'm thinking, what are these people doing? Refinancing their house? It's a coffee place. So we get up. And I ordered, and I said, by the way, do we pick it up on the other side? They said, no, there's 2 lines. Well, there was cars going through the other side like crazy. We could have saved 20 minutes. And then there were people just walking up to a window. You didn't have to wait in line. But we were hanging out. It was me, me and my wife, and one of my kids, and their significant other. We were having so much fun laughing and talking about how long it was taking. We got to do that. And we joked about it for 2 days. We get to do that. You're creating situations. We live in Vegas, so I think there's 4 different distribution centers around Vegas. Amazon distribution centers. And so a lot of times it's same day delivery. Same day. I have ordered I think there's a 3 o'clock cutoff, but I've ordered and you hit buy and boom, they're knocking at the door. It's not that quick. But what that's done, that has spoiled us. It's spoiled us. My wife, I don't know why she's done this. If there was an Amazon Supreme Prime Lifetime Diamond member, I'd be it. She decided to get her an account. Well, she orders it. Well, she's not Prime. Excuse me. Well, she doesn't get same day delivery. A lot of times she'll get 2 day or more. She's not Prime. She's not the extravagant, Supreme Diamond Amazon Prime ticket holder here. And she has to pay for freight. Well, this was just unacceptable. It got here in 2 days. And it was an oven mitt or something ridiculous. It would have been delivered in 2 hours if I had ordered it. She complained as if it was being brought by, Stagecoach. I do the same thing. If it's not, I'll actually scroll through at the different options. What's same day? What's same day? It makes you not plan. Do you really need it? But yet, we get to do that. We get to do that now. So a lot of this is just it's a mindset. It's adjusting the mindset. A lot of these chores, we would call them, they used to be chores. They're not anymore. They used to be chores. My goodness, I look at just lawn care and things like that now with the tools. I used to have to rake. I didn't mind mowing, but I didn't like to rake or sweeping. Oh, it drove me crazy. And Dad kept everything immaculate. Now a leaf blower can do most of that. It's just great. Man, I'll leaf blow a yard. I'll leaf blow the garage. I'm great with a leaf blower. But now leaf blowing is the chore. See what I mean? I got to rake. I got to sweep. Now I get to leaf blow. I got to remember to charge the battery. Oh, got to charge the battery. No, I get to charge the battery. So I think you get what I'm saying. And I know I said get. Well, that's what it is. I'm from South. So there's just a mindset change that needs to happen. And I'm using chores and little things so that we can get it in the habit, and then we can apply it to bigger things. Because the more often we do things, a lot of little things, the more often we do that, we get in the habit of that with the big things. So to go back again about shifting perspective, instead of thinking, I have to do it. I get to do it. No matter what it is. You know, and it can be really tough stuff. You know, it could even be bad events in life. I have to fly back with my family and go to a funeral. That's rough. However, I get to go back and share that memory with other loved ones. I get to see people I don't usually get to see. We're going to have conversations that are going to bring deep meaning, happy, sad, otherwise. But I get to honor that person. They're gone. They don't know it. Also, I get to have some sort of closure. So it's not just the small things. It's the big, heavy things. I remember getting to go all across the country and interview. Getting to go all across the country and resolve some conflict. You get to do that because on the other side, there's something waiting for you. And so turning gratitude into practice, it's a skill. It really is. And it's not easy for some people, but you know, while you're doing it, focus on the journey of doing it. You know, because as you embrace it and feel it, if it's annoying, feel that, so that you can also feel the good part, the reward, what's on the side of that. My sisters, I talked about when they would wash dishes. They didn't want to wash dishes. I didn't want them to wash dishes. You know, I'm ready to, we're finished eating, let's do something. We got to do something to keep from having to go to bed by our bedtime that was way too early. But they would make a game out of it. There were times, and they would tell you this, there were times when, to make it fun, the middle sister would get on my older sister who was washing dishes. She would get on her back, and to make it fun, she would wash the dish and hand it over her head to her, and she would wash it and then put it, you know, if the plates or whatever went up high. They made a game out of it. They made fun out of it, and they still talk about that to this day, and they're older than me. They get to do that. And so some of the things that we go through with other people, you're creating memories that probably would never happen otherwise. So you get to do that. And then looking at the big picture. You know, a chore, okay, what's it going to lead to? Chores taught me work ethic. I was taught when I get home, you don't go out and play till you do your homework. And then usually, and there were chores to do, real chores. Homework first, then your chores, then you can go play. Well, I know there's a tight timeline between I get out of school and when we eat supper in the South. Some of you eat dinner, we ate supper. Well, I had to get all that in within. So that taught me to get this done. Get your chores done. Work first. I don't know that I taught my kids that as well as my parents taught me, and I don't know that I stuck to it as much, but it is fantastic to teach that. Work first, and you get to play, because the play is the reward for the work. Still that way in so many things. So many times I think about that. You know, it's a big thing. And then I think it's important that as we're going through this, being more grateful, look at the big picture, take time to think about it. Take time. And what you had to do, we talk about planning your day. Well, looking back on your day is very important. That's why I love to go out back and, it's a cup of coffee or whatever. Just sit back and just think about the day. What did I accomplish? And I'm not talking about any business technique or anything. How did today go? What have I got to be proud of today? What did I do for somebody else? What sucked? All right, why did it suck? All right, well, maybe it sucked because I didn't do my best or it didn't go my way. All right, how am I going to do something different next time so it won't suck so bad? That reflection will make some of this task tension go away. All right, next time I'm going to do this. I get to do this. I get another chance. I don't have to do this again. I get to do it better than the last time. And I think a lot of it will come from learning how to understand it's not all about you. And that's a podcast coming up. It's not all about you. Yeah. That's tough to learn. When we're kids, it is all about us. As we grow up, we realize it's not. When we become, we have friends, okay, all right, it's mostly about me. And then when we get married, we realize, well, I don't think it's about me at all. And we have kids, it's like, it's never about me. Realizing other people are so important and doing some of these chores, doing some of these have-tos is actually something you get to do. Whether it's cleaning the house before company comes or driving them to the airport and, telling them goodbye and telling them to, giving them tasks. I tell my kids all the time, let me know when you get to the gate. Let me know when you land. Let me know when you get home. Those are things they have to do. Those are things they get to do. So, not to get too Baptist on you, but turning your burdens into blessings. You'll look at things differently, and you'll realize those things you have to do. Your to-do list, it's really a get-to-do list. All right, I hope this helps. It's a journey. I'm better at it sometimes than others. Sometimes I'm not at my best, but I appreciate you joining. Thanks so much. Please hit me up at david@otalks.com or dave@otalks.com, or just go to otalks.com. Check that out. I'll do a better job I get to update my website soon. So, see, I'm getting better. But thanks so much. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for hanging on. I appreciate you more than you know. Thanks for the support, but most of all, thanks for O-Talking with Dave. Giddy up.